Hi everybody, it's Kyle. Hey, yesterday I did a video about turning frustration into fascination, and I got some interesting feedback, and the most interesting feedback I got from quite a few people was that sometimes instead of just asking questions and turning frustration into fascination, people need to be told they're wrong. Because if you don't do that, if you just ask questions, sometimes you'll be validating their wrongness. And so I have a question for those people that believe that. And the question is this: when's the last time you won an argument? And what I don't mean by won an argument is that like a debate where you develop your points and you tally up how many good points you made and they tally up how many good points they made, and then you determine who's the winner. What I mean by won an argument is, when is the last time that by arguing with somebody and presenting alternate ideas, at the end they said to you, you know what, you make more valid points than I do, so I think I'm going to come over to your side. Well, the truth is that just doesn't happen. And the reason is, I believe, is because of a principle called cognitive confirmation bias. Now, if you've heard of that, you know what it is, but if you haven't, let me explain real quick. Cognitive confirmation bias is when people have a belief in something, they've got reasons for those beliefs, and they won't be swayed very easily. And so what people can do when they have cognitive confirmation bias, and we all do it, is we ignore any evidence contrary to our beliefs, and we look for and find evidence to support our beliefs. None of us like to think we're wrong. None of us like to think we believe wrong. And so when we create beliefs, we're determined to keep those beliefs. And that is generally what happens when you argue with somebody. I told you about a couple of days ago, I had a political discussion with a friend, and we have different opinions on politics. And I say opinions because that's all they really are. They're based on our beliefs. Well, if I were to have said, well, I don't believe that, I believe this, he generally, in most cases, that's not going to sway him to think like I think. In most cases, what that does is he ignores that because he has cognitive confirmation bias, and I do too. He ignores any points I make that are valid and looks for and finds evidence that supports his beliefs. We all have beliefs for a certain reason. It's not because we just made them up generally. It's because we've created those beliefs based on things that we think are facts. And so to those people who said to me, you know what, by asking questions when you disagree with somebody, by asking questions you're validating their point, I would say to you, I'm not validating their point. I'm just curious. I'm fascinated by how people come to conclusions and how people create beliefs, number one. And number two, if you argue with somebody, they're gonna slap you with cognitive confirmation bias and start ignoring you. Any evidence you propose, whether it's true or not, doesn't matter. They're going to ignore it because it doesn't give them evidence of their beliefs. And in most cases, what will happen is you'll lose the ability to influence people because they'll think you're wrong and they'll think you're stupid. I think I talked about that yesterday. When people are stupid, nobody thinks they're stupid. But we like to think other people are stupid a lot. And so when you argue with people, first of all, two things happen. First of all, they don't change their mind. You don't finish an argument and the other person says, you know what, I was wrong, you're right. Well, I guess unless you're talking to your spouse, your wife specifically. Sometimes we do that. Maybe that's just to keep the peace. That's the first thing that doesn't happen. And the second thing that does happen is that by arguing with people, you tend to lose your influence. And the truth is, when you lose influence with people, you have no ability to help them guide the way they're going. And if you're interested in influence, and I kind of am, you don't really want that. You don't want to argue with people, because the truth is you'll never win an argument. Now, you can sway people through a discussion, and discussions are interesting and fascinating. and not frustrated, generally, if you handle them the right way. So I want to leave that with you today. If you're getting frustrated, turn it into fascination. If you believe that fascination validates other people's wrong beliefs, I would disagree with you there. I think what it does do is if you ask them the right questions, it opens their mind to other options, number one. And number two, it gives you the opportunity to influence them. And that's what we all want. Well, not all of us, but that's what a lot of us want. We want the ability to influence people for good. And so I'll leave that with you. Hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully that's some clarification for you. If you disagree, let me know. I like it when people disagree, because that's interesting. That's fascinating to me. So if you disagree, send me another nasty message. Truthfully, those make me smile as much as happy messages. So have a great day. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.